Hello, this is Nono for the power rankings for the Gyarados Frontier League Hearthflame division, which did Paldea Dex low tier draft. I have been asked by Cyber to do the power rankings for this, basically because I played in a very similar league with a tier list. I think this one was heavily inspired from earlier this year, and I had a pretty good team and actually won that league. So I think he thought it would be quite fitting if I did the power rankings for this one. So, to start off, I would like to talk a bit about my personal preferences regarding this draft pool, this draft board, and maybe low tier in general. Then I'll be going a bit over hidden gems that are still on the draft board, because I honestly think that some of those ones should be picked up by a coach. Like especially two of them are in my opinion egregiously underpriced. So yeah. Let's start off with the rules. Basically, the things we have to keep in mind when looking at the tier list is that as usual in low tier leagues, we have a ban of Shell Smash and all the weather rocks and weather abilities. Sandstorm and Snow Hail are not banned, but the prolonging items are banned, so that doesn't matter as much. As well as Revival Blessing, Shed Tail, Last Respect, so that's nothing out of the usual. Right, so let's also mention that Terrestrialization is banned. That has just been the same in the league Cyber and I played. So that, in my opinion, means that you can't get away with bad drafts as easily, because you can't just throw a Terra Band-Aid on it and win anyway, even though you have certain roles not covered. So, what is it that I think changes from for low tier in comparison to standard? We are playing Paldea decks, so in relation to net decks or older formats, Gen 8, Gen 7, the hazard removal is just going to be worse in general, but for low tier it's going to be even worse than it already is for standard Paldea decks. So I won't be super mad if your hazard removal is not great, but if you don't have any hazard removal, that's not going to be that's going to be punishing, because there are spikes everywhere. There's rocks everywhere, or in my opinion, there should be rocks everywhere. So what I will value very highly is that you have like at least 2 good options to bring rocks, and preferably also like options to bring T-spikes, remove T-spikes, etc., etc. So good hazard setting. And what I also wanted to mention is like of course there are some okay spinners, okay defoggers, but most of them tend to be a bit passive. And like even though Shell Smash is banned, like low tier, in my opinion, often tends to go towards setup. So it's not great to have like to give dangerous mons setup if you get your spinner in or your defogger in to remove hazards. So that's also like something that in my opinion makes hazards better, and not having good access to hazards a lot more punishing. So there's also like a few things regarding types that changes in my mind. Like there are like some types which just, for being honest, like suffer a lot just because there aren't as many good mons. Like especially Steel, Ghost, and Dragon. Like most dragons are usually in like a higher point range than what we are doing here. Like the best dragon on this board is like arguably Noivern, maybe Gudra. I personally like Noivern more. Like there is just not good access to the usual high tier dragon that a lot of people get. And a similar thing for like steel mons, but just like a lot worse. Like there are hardly any good steel mons, or if there are steel mons, they are like even a bit overpriced. Like Registeel for 12 points with a tier list that goes up to 50 is not great. I love Bronzong, but paying 11 for it also does not feel amazing. And I think you can see that those were not drafted, so people seem to agree about that. Like the ones that are good are very desirable. Like I love Cobalion, I love Reverbroom, and I think those will also do well. But that is definitely a thing that one has to keep in mind. Ghost types, like we all know, Gen 8 and Gen 9 gave us a bunch of great ghost types, but those are also mostly above the range allowed here. Like there is Petarant. Petarant is quite good, but it's more of an outlier. Like there aren't like any ghosts apart from Petarant to be seen in like the first 3 or 4 tiers. So like that, if I remember correctly, there's like Miss Mages, but that is already like a lot worse than what we usually have in standard. So another type that suffers a bit is Dark, in my opinion. Like Dark is still very desirable, and also I think like I would not be very comfortable building a low tier team without the Dark type. But there are also a lot fewer like good or like at least like bulky Dark types available than in Standard. So in general, what does it mean for like the position of types? So in my opinion, because steel types are less good and less common, and also like ghost types are less common, dark types are just worse in general. Offensive psychics get like from one of the worst types in the game, basically become, in my opinion, like the third or fourth most desirable type in low tier. So that basically means like if you want to get like a good offensive base, you don't have to prioritize a good psychic type, but I think you're just leaving value on the table if you're not really going for one, because there are so many of them and they are decently well positioned into the metagame. Otherwise, like psychics used to be very strong in low tier. I still think they kind of are, but like we do allow more fairy types now in low tier than we originally did, like in past gens. So they do suffer a bit from where they were before, but I think they're still a lot better than they are in standard, especially because they just pair very, very well with psychic typing. Otherwise, because steel types are less common, ghost types are less common, both flying and normal just give very powerful offensive coverage, like a lot more reliable than they are usually. So I will value if you like at least have, even if you don't have a steel type, I think you need like decent options into like flying and normal stab attacks, or you will have a hard time. Like you don't want to like lose to a Dodrio that someone picked up for like a few points or so. As always, like offensive waters are very, very good. So it's also going to be important to be able to switch into those, but that's not much different than the standard. Right, I wanted to mention a few things on the board before I go over my personal ranking. Things I think that should probably be picked up in some way, like Gardevoir and Okidogi are like both very good low tier Pokemon. So like if I remember correctly, like some teams did have issues with their offense and breaking in general, and like Gardevoir used to be like the low tier Pokemon. So that one is pretty good. Okidogi is also very, very good. And maybe like even a bit underrated at 14. And yeah, like in the 13 range, there's nothing that I find like super egregious. Like there's low kicks, which I like a lot, but I'm also not surprised that it didn't get picked up, because like it is a bit hard to use for a high tier mon. But that would probably like be my pick for the best mon available in this tier. That hasn't been picked yet. And yeah, what was a bit surprising to me is that the Medicham at 12 with pure power wasn't picked up. Like that thing also, like, it's almost impossible to switch into that in low tier. So that seems a bit crazy to me. So yeah, and if I remember correctly, in the league Cyber and I played in, we didn't allow it at all in its normal form. Like we had Medicham, but pure power was banned, and like it wasn't picked up and was at like 5 or 6 points or so. Like, yeah. Now for the things that like seem a little bit crazy to me, that those haven't been picked up, like Meluetta and Bravia Hisui, also both very, very good offensive psychic, flying, normal, attacking mons. Like this thing, in my opinion, could arguably be like a 14-point mon, and it probably should still be picked up. Like Bravia Hisui at 11 is kind of crazy to me, but yeah. And yeah, on 10, like there's Pormod, which I also think is like it has a very good speed tier. It has very threatening like coverage. It has good step combination, good powerful step attacks. So that is also, in my opinion, very cheap for 10 points. And now to what I think is like probably one of the more egregious misplacements on the list, and we also had it back then in ODBF. That's the Adikuno Galar at 7 points. Like also, that if that thing were 10 points, it still would be like a fair price. That is also it's not it's not a Bravia Hisui, but it's similar. It's of course it's a bit faster naturally, but also like insane setup options, and again, like the things that usually invalidate this mon aren't as prevalent in low tier. So this one I would also heavily recommend if someone like wants to get like a good offensive psychic type. Yeah. Okay, so well then let's get on to the ranking. And well, yeah. That That was not the side I wanted to be on. Minimal spoilers, I guess. At rank 12, we have Com6 team, and what stands out as like good about this team for me is that it does have a good defensive backbone. Like, it gets to switch in to most of the common attacking types, so to speak. Like, it has good defense into flying, fighting, water, also decent defense into psychic. Well, though not as great. But yeah, it has no dark type. That is like kind of big issue for me. It has good it has good hazard control and good and also like decent speed tiers too. But what is like a big issue for me here is that you paid like a lot of points for webs on a Requinite, but like you don't really have any abuser for the webs. Like, no, like Clawwitzer is the one that is like nearest to like something that can start to outspeed stuff that it usually can't with webs up and break. Like, everything else is like either already quite fast and like a bit frail, or like just like far too slow. So that isn't great. And you also only have like one stealth rock setter in Rhyperia, which, like, in my opinion, is also really not the best thing you could do. Then there are like a lot of what I would call like redundant pieces. Like, you picked like 3 water types that aren't like, yeah, they are a bit different, but also not really as much. You pick 2 fast normal types. Like, there's just a lot of wasted points, in my opinion. And this also like lacks a bit of an obvious offensive mode, in my opinion. It's just like there is like the mousehold to be afraid of offensively, and like everything else, like maybe the Oricorio, but that's a bit of a stretch. But against everything else, I don't necessarily need to like speed creep. I can just like survive +2 Virizion hits. I can just it does not feel like super great to me overall, even though like for the 12 play for a low place team, like the defensive backbone is decent. At number 11, we do have Denial's team. Again, in my opinion, again, decently strong defense, and also decent hazard setting in like Sandaconda, Flygon, Muk, and also like good, very good setup pieces in like Suicune, Iron Leaves, good breaker in Embor. But like this team does not have any hazard control at all. That could be like against some teams be just very, very problematic, especially if you have like mons like Suicune or Porygon 2 or Mach that just rely on switching in a lot and are mainly living on their good bulk. Like if your Porygon 2 gets hit by a taunt once, like it's dead. If like there's a layer of Stealth Rock and Spikes laying. So and again, it's like there are like a bunch of redundant pieces. I get that with your team name, you want to get the Electric Reds, but like they are really not contributing much to your team. Those are points you could have spent elsewhere. It's going to put it down a notch. Your offense itself is also like very physically oriented. So like the only thing that comes close to like special offense piece is like Magneton, maybe Porygon 2, but those are both like not very generally used for offensive game plans. Like Magneton a bit more, but Magneton is also like walled by every ground type, so it's and it's like the whole team is also like a bit slow. So yeah, what I would give the team what's pretty good is I really like Iron Leaves plus Embor. That is a very good offensive core, but yeah, just like Sandaconda, Flygon do have a bit of redundancy. Like Pikachu and Pachirisu are basically here as mascots. But yeah. For rank 10, we do have, think, Amok's team. So, on the surface, this is a team that's like basically my forte. It's just bulky offense. It does have like very good setup options. It does have like immediate power in like choice specs, the dance bars, a Gyarados, Vikavolt, also like pretty powerful, Glaceon 2. But yeah, what's like big issue of this team is like again hazard control is a shift tree that does really hurt like your Clodsire, which does not want to run into spikes. Like your Gyarados, of course, like it will usually run heavy duty boots along as well as your Vikavolt probably and your Moltres, but like you get knocked off, and then like you're also basically item locked on heavy duty boots, and maybe Gyarados wants to run like Scarf or Choice Band or Leftovers or like Lumberry, and yeah, that's like not ideal. Yeah, and like what's also like a bit problematic is like you don't really have any resist into flying attacks. So yeah, you are super bulky. So like uh, Choice Band, Brave Bird probably just might just only 1-for-1, but yeah, maybe it starts to 2-for-1, and yeah, then you're not in the best position. Your like speed outside of of Cobalion and webs is also like not the best. And again, webs aren't always like the most reliable source of speed control, because like heavy duty boost exists, and like opponent hazard control is also usually going to be okay. It's not necessarily coming, but like if I'm playing against Vicavolt or like another more expensive web setter in low tier, I'm at least having like a plan against the webs. And so it's like usually it's something that the opponent can like play around. So it's like a nice thing to have, but it's nothing to rely on, in my opinion. And like the speed of this team is not great outside of it. Yeah. What else? Like, I'm honestly like not the biggest fan of Clodsire. It's like, as I said before, like the tier is like a bit set up. The performance is a bit set up, and hazard stacking based. I mean, you may think like Unaware Clodsire does do all the things you want. Like it kind of stops setup. It kind of it sets its own hazards, but like it is also like a really unthreatening mon. So there's like nothing stopping the opponent from switching their hazard setter in. Maybe taunting Clodsire, setting up their own hazards, and if it's like a mon that can beat Clodsire, it can also just set up on it and like beat it when it's done setting up. And yeah, it's just my 2 cents on Clodsire. I'm not super big on it in general, and like in when you're paying like 11 points for it in low tier, that's also not where I would want to be. But like on the plus side, I think Gyarados, Cobalion have been like very, very good value. And I also like the dance pass a lot. So for team number 9, we have the team from MGD, and look at my notes for this. Yeah. So at first glance, we see again this just has an overall great hazard game for what was available. Like Cleaver is obviously always going to help with that, but also Cyclizar is probably one of the best spinners on the draft board. And then you have alongside the Cleavor, you also have Quagsire, which again gives quite a good amount of hazards in Scarlet and Violet. I also like the momentum game of this team a lot. Like Grimmsnarl, Cleavor, Cyclizar are like going to bring Lucario and Sinistcha in. Those can get set up. Like I like that a lot. Like what I don't like is that again there isn't really any kind of defense against Flying Step. And you also have like no real switch-ins into Fairy Step outside of Crocalaw, which I don't think really see you bringing ever. And Arbok, which is like fine, but also like dies to any decently strong coverage move. So like outside of those points, I like this team quite a lot. Like there is a bit of an issue with speed tiers. Like Cyclizar is the only mon above 100, but like it does have noticeable defensive holes in my opinion, but like the offensive game plan of Cleavor, Lucario, Cyclizar, Sinistcha is very appealing to me, and there is also enough defense against getting swept yourself that I think this could actually work. So for our team number 8, we do have a team of Star Maiden. So so this team has been like when I made the rankings, it has been like all over the place. At some point I had it as high as rank 4 or rank 3, but now I just put it down to 8. Like the thing that is like most that is like the okay. Let's start with the good things. Like there is a very solid defensive core for this team. Like Petron is super bulky, Alamola is super bulky, Tinkerton is super bulky, Piloswine is super bulky, Gerda is super bulky, and you have to get through that in order to beat this team. But on the flip side, like the offense on this team is not great. Like there is Inteleon and Tinkerton, but and maybe like Indeedee, but like the immediate offense on this team really isn't that great. So that is just something that like in my opinion is can be like a huge issue. So then there again is no dark type, so I feel like you could run into problems when playing against like a good psychic type, because one of your psychic answers does have psychic surge, so that only makes it so that the attacks get even stronger into you. Of course, you have Tinkerton, but Tinkerton usually or often has to do a lot of heavy lifting. I mean, it kind of has to be your offense, and then if it has to be your defense too, then it gets a bit awkward. And yeah, of course, a lot of psychic types do also have some kind of coverage into Tinkerton. So yeah, that's going to be maybe a problem for this team. Another thing that is a bit worrying is that the hazard control for a team that is basically just bulk and also just trying to go for a long game is also a bit bad. It's basically just a girder. I'm not counting Smurgle for anything, and basically was a bit confused why it is even here. Like, I don't really believe it has a great role in low tier. But yeah, it's maybe just my opinion. Again, as the first teams we talked about this also, yeah, as I said before, this doesn't have a dark type. If you ever run into stored power setup, things can go south very, very, very easily. I'm also not the biggest fan of Elemomola. I understand that it has become a decent mon in Gen 9, but it basically checks a lot of the things that Patcherond also does, and you are, when you are paying 13 points for an Elemomola, you just forgo the option to get a good offensive core, which in my opinion this team really doesn't have. I'm going to say I do just have a heavy bias against this type of team, so maybe that's also the reason why I put it so low. Okay, now for Team 7. For Team 7, we do have a team by Final Crusader. Yeah. For the positives on this team, I think the top 6 mons do work very well together and hardly leave any obvious weaknesses open. That is also a very necessary and good thing for this team, because this team only uses 6 mons. I don't really think that Volbeat, Sand/Alola, Probopass, or Trumbeak are contributing a lot. I don't really see myself bringing Sand/Alola with this team ever. Volbeat, okay, that has its matchups, but still not it's not generally useful, so to speak. But again, these 6 months do have great synergy, and are also very good individually. The problem with these 6 months is basically just that you are rather slow. So Delphox is your only mon above 100 speed, and that's going to hurt quite a bit. so you often will have to run a Scarfer, so probably your Crocodile is locked to Scarf, which is like one of its best sets, but you also don't always want to play a Scarf Crocodile. So yeah, you're just kind of limiting yourself by just having access to 6 months. And also your opponents will have an easier time to adapt their offenses to this. Like if I know, okay, these exact 6 months are always coming to any game, then I can usually find like combinations of like a step move and one other coverage move so that I can like usually make progress against this team. Like in my opinion, you could probably go a little bit less top heavy, and like maybe get rid of Magalola and switch around a little bit with lower tier mons. Just so that you get a little bit less predictable and also can just adapt better to your opponents. Like with just these six months, you're like really not great at exploiting weaknesses of teams if they don't just happen to be among your top 6 months. Like, for example, as I've been talking about before, there are a bunch of teams weak to flying. Like, you have nothing to punish that, and that's going to hurt you a bit. Again, these 6 months do work great together, but like only having access to 6 months in draft is a little bit too limiting, in my opinion. So now for Team 6, we do have a team by Fuego. So again, this team does look decent on the surface, like does not, in my opinion, play any bad mons. Like all mons are usable. It also has, in general, like a pretty well-rounded defense. Even though, again, the flying defense is a bit lacking. Like you only have the Bronzor and the Regieleki, and you don't really want to bring the Bronzor ever. I mean, you can bring the Bronzor, but like again, going back to the Dodrio example, like, do you want to bring your Bronzor, your 1-point Bronzor, just so you beat the choice band 5 or 6 point Dodrio your opponent happened to pick up? That's like not really where you want to be, and like Bronzor also gets like U-turned on and exploited, and yeah, I think you see where I'm going with this. Again, like I really like the defensive backbone of this. Like Sylveon is great, Entei, Milotic, Decidueye all work well together. You have very good hazard removal. You are lacking in hazard setting. Like you only have like the Gligar for rocks, and then maybe the Bronzor. So that is one of the reasons why this team didn't rank higher, even though, in my opinion, it looks pretty good on the surface. Another issue, in my opinion, is that Gligar, which was 9 points here, is probably the most overpriced mon on the board. Since Gligar lost Roost this generation, in my opinion, it's a 4-point mon. I think if you drop the Gligar and maybe like the Phalanx and get a little bit of a better hazard base, your team could be very, very good and a lot better than it currently is. Like maybe you can even get like a little bit better offensive base. Like your speed is, I mean, you do have Regieleki and Entei, but just getting something that's just a little bit faster than Entei, like something along the 110 range, 1.8 range, could just help a lot. Yeah. Well, now to team number 5. And for team number 5, we do have a team by Darsh. So, there are like a bunch of things to mention about this team. So this time I'm going to start with the issues and then start going over why this could be the best team in the whole draft if it did just a few things differently. So, like, why is this team not as great as it could be? Again, this team does not have any defense into Flying Step. As I said before, that is a big issue. It also does not have any defense into Ghost Step. That's less of a problem, but still very problematic. You don't have a Dark type, which, if you remember, like I put most of the teams that did not have a Dark type like a lot lower than this. And you also only have like one real hazard setter and two like partial hazard setters in Tentacruel and Heracross. Like Mudsdale is a very good hazard setter, I'll give you that. But Heracross often doesn't want to run spikes, and toxic spikes are good to have, but also a little bit more situational. So what I'm saying is this team could really need like a decent rock type. Like I don't count Raichu as real flying resist. Like it's just going to die by Choice Band Brave Bird. Yeah. So well, what is so great about this team? Like in my opinion, Armarouge plus Heracross is probably the most scary offensive pairing I've seen in this league so far. So those two together could just be a menace. Then you do have very good hazard control in Tentacruel. Like that's one of my favorite hazard removers in on the board. You have Mudsdale, which is also again a very good defensive piece, which also does not really sacrifice that much momentum, which is like very good to have. And yeah, obviously Tornadus is also like very good stop to like it has flying step. It gets to stop some annoying stuff. It is fast. Like that's also nice to have. Yeah. Like what I think you could just improve on is maybe just drop the Mimikyu. I don't think you need the setup from Mimikyu, or you already have Amarouche, Heracross, Tornadoes, which all can set up pretty nicely. Also maybe Raichu even. And in my opinion, if you like drop Mimikyu or maybe Tornadoes and a little bit of your low tier stuff in order to fix your resistance problems, you could actually have like one of the best teams in the league. Like things that I think could be great for you are like maybe like Bishop, Quillfish Isui, Bombardier, like, or just a steel type like Copperajah, Orthworm. Yeah, if you want to go for rock type, there are also like few good ones left. Like low on the lower point range, there's like Lycanroc, Midnight. It's also like a 3-point Golem, Neckerstack, Cloth. Like all these could like fix your weaknesses here pretty well. Outside of that, I really like this team. Like again, if you manage to build around the weaknesses a little bit better, I think this could be very good. So now for team number 4. Team number 4, we do have a team by Windows C. So yeah, I think I'm sounding like a broken record now, but yeah, again, this team is a little bit weak to flying. That is what you immediately see when you look at this. Like the only flying resist is Sudowoodo. Sudowoodo for 1 point is amazing. No question asked. But yeah, you also have like a little bit of a weakness to Psychic. Like your only resistance / immunity is Zoroark, which again gets blown up by any coverage move. But like outside of that, you do have a team that abuses the webs from Galvantula very well, but is not reliant on them. Like Gallade is probably again one of the best mons on the board. Just very threatening offensive mon that can also like work as a defensive piece with Rest Talk. Do have like one of the better removers in Weezing Galar. I think you do have like great momentum with Swampert. Think Zoroark has U-turn as well. Galvantula, like all these things will work very well together, which is why this team is at rank 4. Like another thing to maybe improve a bit on is the hazard setting. That is a little bit poor. Like you have Swampert. Swampert will usually want to run Stealth Rock. You will almost always bring Swampert, but just having like another piece of rocks or spikes outside of Sudowoodo would also be appreciated. Yeah, I think you do have to be a bit wary of T-spikes. Like again, you don't always want to defog away your own webs. You don't want to defog away your own rocks. But if you are like playing your offensive game plan with Gallade, Chandelure, Swampert, pivoting, you also don't want your mons to be T-spiked, but you also don't want to not run Levitate on Weezing Galar, so that might become a problem, but I don't think it's a very big one. I really like this Squawkabilly pickup. That's going to come a decent amount of times, I assume. Like that thing can just blow stuff with Guts Facade or Guts flying move. So I like that pickup a lot, and yeah, I also do like this team a lot. For rank 3, we do have the team by Ty the Guy. So, in my opinion, this team does not really have any glaring weakness. Like you have a decent defensive position into everything. You do have like good offensive options. You do have good hazard control. You do have a bunch of good hazard options yourself. Like I'm not the biggest fan of Per Circle Dragloak, but like there are going to be minor tidbits everywhere. But yeah, otherwise of that, this looks pretty good. Like the only like minor flaws this has, in my opinion, is that the momentum is a bit lacking, and yeah, while you don't have any like obvious weaknesses, you also don't have what I would call like significant strength. Like you are not putting as much build pressure on the opponent as like the Armor Rouge Heracross team does, for example. So you will have to react a lot more to what your opponent does than some of the other teams. Like that is like a weakness, in my opinion. Like you want to like put pressure on your opponent in a way that they can't possibly bring all their best sets against you, and not lose to any bullshit mon you have. So yeah, so I would say this team is a little bit less constricting to the other teams than a few that we had before, but like the overall composition of this team is like very, very solid, and I think it will do very, very well. Okay, now for the number 2 spot, we do have the team by Cyber, and well, again, this team is, in my opinion, a little less polished than the one by Ty the Guy we saw before, but like the individual pieces are a lot more threatening than those on Ty the Guy's team. So again, like as I said before, on I think, was it Fuego's team? Yeah, I think so. Like every mon in this team does have a role. There's like no wasted slot, in my opinion. And there are also like very, very good offensive pieces in Feraligatr. Miss Mages is going to be great. You do have very good. You have decent hazard control in Toadskruel with Altaria as backup. You do have okay hazards yourself. Regirock is very consistent hazard setter. Toadskruel, yeah, in a bit less so, but it's still kind of consistent. You do have Incineroar, which is also like one of the more underrated ones on the board, in my opinion. And you also don't have like any obvious like you will be able to switch in something on every type, which is like not something every team we talked about before has. Like you do have a bit of a weakness into ground types. Like, I mean, obviously you do have Toadskruel, Altaria, Miss Mages to counter that, but you are stacking a bit of a ground weakness on a lot of your top mons, like Raikou, Incineroar, Fizzledipity, Regirock, are all mons you often want to bring, and as soon as you like bring like 4 ground weakness and you maybe bring like Miss Mages and then Fizzledipity alongside it, like things can go south kind of quickly, but you also have Feraligatr to just blow ground types into oblivion, so I don't know if I would worry about it that much. Like what could in theory be a bit problematic is like if you are playing like a Gardevoir or maybe a Hatterene, because like the combination of Fairy and Psychic Stab can get through here rather efficiently, but those are just nitpicks. I'm like not the biggest fan of like top Mon Raikou, because like the Mon does have its obvious counters, which also like stop it very, very well. So it, in my opinion, it strives more as like your 4th or 3rd best Mon, and not so much as like your top Mon in low tier. But of course, not every team will have a good answer to Raikou, and then it's going to be amazing. Okay, now finally for our rank 1, which is going to be, well, the only team left, and that's this team by Permanent. There is not much I can say about this team. In my opinion, you do have like all types covered defensively very well, while also like putting out very good offensive pressure. Like Sandy Shocks is also like one of my favorite mons on the board, and Sandy Shocks, Blastoise, Noivern, Revavroom, Mesprit will all work together very, very well, and like you only have to like worry a bit about Dark Step, but like you do have a Carbink, which is, in my opinion, like a lot better than people often make it out to be. Like it can it does have access to Body Press, which makes it a very good Dark type answer. Brute Bonnet is also like, in my opinion, a little bit underpriced on the board. So you also got a very good one there. And then you also have the Dodrio I mentioned before. So like, I don't want to be in the place of all the flying big teams when they have to run into a team that will throw like Specs Neuvern and Choice Band to Drio at them. Oh yeah. Yeah, obviously, like, your hazard options are very, very good. Like, you do have Sandy Shocks, you do have Reverb Room, you do have Mesprit, you do have Carbink. Your removal options are great in Blastoise. You also do have Neuvern if you do want to run Defog. And like, most of your lower tier mons do have a role. Like, I don't really think Pigknight is going to do much. Like, maybe stop like ice types if you are worried about them. But yeah, like, your setup is pretty good. You do have you do have Reverb Room, which is also like a lot better if you don't have to worry about Corviknights or Skarmories on the opponent's team. So yeah, overall, I think this is the best team. I also think it's in my opinion, it's not that close. I mean, of course, this could still be optimized a bit. Like, there's maybe like the option to get something instead of Pigknight and Haunter. Maybe switch up Carbink and get like maybe a bit more proactive Dark Switch in also, but yeah, I think the team is pretty good, and with that, I'm hoping you'll have fun with League. I hope you had fun with this video, and yeah, goodbye.